Hey folks, this is Tim, Jefferson County General Assembly in Pennsylvania. Jefferson County being named after Thomas Jefferson. And that being said, I I went and renewed a driver's license. I realized that driver's license is not constitutional. Murdoch versus Pennsylvania 319 U.S. 105 states that I cannot trade my liberty, which is the wrong word. I cannot trade my freedom for a license with a fee. Okay, so my freedom is the right to travel unencumbered by statute, rules, or regulations, according to Shapiro versus Thompson. All right, so at any rate, um, I went and did that. In Pennsylvania, they screwed with you all the time. So when this question come up, do you want to be registered to vote? I put no. And the next week, I got this in the mail. Oh, I'm a registered voter. I'm like, no, I'm not. So I had to write a letter. So I'm actually going to go ahead and see registered voter crap. And I wrote, if you can see it, I wrote void right across it. And I didn't take this with me. I just took this. And as soon as Wendy saw me and I told her what I was doing, she said, okay, because she knew this was coming because I did it before. And so I'm going to go ahead and read this. This is the actual letter. You can see it's notarized. This is my copy. You never give away your original copy. So this is my original copy of the letter that I gave to her. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. And I'm not sure if this is on the website yet, but I'm going to get it out there so you can see it. But it says, I always put my header, and this isn't really a document for court, so you don't need the cover pages or anything. And this is something that I handed to her, and I told her, make sure you put this in the file so I don't have to do this anymore. And she said, okay. So hopefully I won't have to play around with this anymore. At any rate, 9th day, January 2018, Wendy Truitt, registrar, is given notice again, again, to understand the fact in law that Timothy Allen Harmon is not a registered voter in Henderson Township or Jefferson County or Pennsylvania or the United States of America, and does not desire or ever present or future to be any kind of registered voter by this office or any registrar's office in the United States of America as a registered voter for the corporate government. All right. So, and then I keep going. You, registrar, is given notice to understand that Timothy Harmon is a man on the land. So I'm setting it up. Priority creditor and cannot be a registered voter without interfering with his private property, which is my rights, which is a crime and will be prosecuted by him. I also note that any future notice that Timothy Harmon is to become a registered voter by any agent or agency must have both verbal and written confirmation by him to you in hand, or notice of registration is to be considered a fraud. All right. And discarded by the registrar's office. Simple enough. And then I have the sessions law. In Pennsylvania, we have pamphlet laws, and they're basically sessions laws. And what this session law is, this is law Act HB 950. I've used this a bunch of times. I put this on a lot of paperwork. But what it basically says is I own my names, and they're not allowed to use my name without my permission. Okay, so just wanted to show it to you. This is the letter that I gave to Wendy, the registrar. And, I just walked in. She come over. I handed it to her. She was really happy about it. Really nice person. These people, 99% of the time, they have no idea, what's really going on. They're just, they wanted a job. and now they have a job, and this is their job to take care of voters registration. Well, you just have to go in, do your paperwork, set the record straight. That's what we do. Okay, so I just wanted to make this short video on voters registration and what to do with it. Now, I suppose I should take the time to explain why this is important. Voters registration. If you are a voter in the corporation, let me get a drink. This is a contract. Well, this is a contract. Okay, so they sent me a contract. I do not want to contract with them. So I made up this, which says I don't want to contract with you. That's all it says. This is a contract. And what this contract does is it turns me into a federal employee. When I make that contract, it's a voter's contract. When I become a voter, I can become a voter in their corporation. Their corporation is at the jurisdiction of the C, which gives them authority to make me pay income tax, to make me pay property tax and wage tax and any other tax that they've to pay their fines if they pull me over for going speeding tickets. That's what this does. It gives them authority to tax me, and a speeding ticket citation is a tax. It's a tax. It's the same word. Tax, fine, it's the same word, okay? So when you're part of the corporation, then you have to do what the corporation does. All right, so if I work for Wendy's, I have to build Wendy's hamburger the way Wendy's says I have to build it, or I can't work for them, right? Or I get in trouble. Well, when you're part of this corporation, if you don't do what they say, if you don't pay their taxes, if you don't play their game, then you get in trouble. They will incarcerate you. They will give you a fine for going too fast, for not stopping at a stop sign. But if you're not part of the corporation, then it falls to common law. And that common law, what common law says is if you don't harm or injure anybody, then nothing happened. So when I'm using marijuana, and I haven't ever used marijuana for years and years and years and years, but if I would have gotten caught, I was still in their program. I would have gotten, whatever they deemed necessary. And if I'm not in their program, then they can't say a word about it because I'm not a part of the corporation. So voter registration is the worst thing that you can do. Absolutely the worst. It's a contract with the federal government that says, I am a federal employee and I want you to tax me. I am a federal employee. I'm voting for my own representation in your corporation. And because I vote for that representative, that means that you can make up the rules to tell me what to do. Paper. It's all about the paper. Folks, record your deeds on the land. Go to my website, sovereignchurchofrefuge.org. Go to Jefferson County General Assembly, jeffersoncountygenerallassembly.org. Do your paperwork. Don't do their paperwork. You don't want to be a voter unless you're a part of the corporation. If you are a federal employee, I mean, if you're a police officer, go vote. Yeah, go vote. You need to vote. We need your vote. We the people out here, we need you vote. We need to vote for President Trump. Absolutely. Get Hillary out of there. Absolutely. Yeah, we know that. But I'm not allowed to vote in that corporation because it would be fraud for me to vote in their corporation. It would be like walking into McDonald's and walking behind the counter and grabbing a hamburger and walking out with it. It's theft. It's fraud. See, what I would be doing was I'd be going into the behind the counter and saying, I work here. This is mine, which is fraud. See, I'm lying. That's fraud. And then grabbing the burger and running out. Well, that's what it would be like for me to vote in their elections. If I vote in their elections, it's committing fraud because I'm not a part of their corporation. See, you're either in or you're out. And if you're out, you're free. You actually have the freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of whatever you desire is not in the corporation, because in the corporation, you have to follow the rules of the corporation. So if the corporation makes up a new rule and they get rid of the Second Amendment in their constitution and it says you're not allowed to have any more guns, then you're not allowed to have any more guns because you are a voter in the corporation. Figure this out. Figure it out. All right? Voter registration is a fraud against sovereignty. It is a fraud against your sovereignty. All right? So, you have to be a sovereign man if you want to know that your freedoms, like the right to bear arms. Now, I don't care what arms you bear. I don't care if it's a knife, a fork, or a spoon. I don't care if it's an M1 tank or a bazooka. Really, they cannot tell you that you're not allowed to have anything. That's why the ATF, I'm watching these videos on the ATF, and they're saying, well, these people have these homemade AR-15s, and they have no numbers on them, and they're not registered with anybody, and there's nothing we can do about it. Well, yeah, duh, because these guys are not a part of the corporation. Because we have rights, and they assume, listen carefully, because they assume, because they falsified your information with a registered birth certificate, right? They registered a birth certificate, which is a presumption on their part, an assumption in court. When you take away the presumption, you take away the assumption, you put your paperwork into their records, public records at the courthouse. Takes away all the assumption, takes away all the presumption. And they cannot touch your unregistered 25-round automated weapon. They cannot touch it. Think, people. Think. Understand. Understand, I've said this over and over, jurisdiction is the most important thing you can understand. This does not give anybody the right to commit a crime. I'm not talking about a crime. I'm talking about the right, the privilege, the right. It's a right, it's not a privilege. To protect your family, to protect yourself. The right to vote, the right to speak freely, the right to free press, the right to freedom of religion, the right to due process, the right to have a trial by jury. All of that stuff is perfected in the fact that you've done your paperwork and put your names on the soil of the state where you were born. JeffersonCountyGeneraLassembly.org. Have a wonderful day, guys.